Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon to support the channel and like and subscribe for faster downloads next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Amazo, a robot designed to destroy the Justice League with the power of copyright infringement. He's like Kirby, but without the vor. Although, since his powers can be anything, I guess it depends on the writer?
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need to be a little copycat, taking abilities from different members of the Justice League. That's actually it. That's the only goal. It's a big goal, though. It's a hard goal, and we'll accomplish it in 3 different ways. But if you're looking for ways to make your life easier, check out today's sponsor, Factor. Factor is a meal delivery service that provides you with delicious, ready-to-eat meals that are never frozen. That means the flavor is still popping, since frozen foods tend to be more dry and bland. Factor meals come in a variety of options: chef's choice, calorie smart, vegan, and keto. All are packed with ingredients that are packed with flavor. I love Factor because the meals are ready to eat in less than 5 minutes. After I'm done working out, I just pop one in the microwave for 2 minutes, then let it rest for a second before digging in. No cooking and minimal dishes, just what I'm looking for after a rigorous workout. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code TULOK50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Save some money while you're saving yourself time without sacrificing flavor. Now, back to the video. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multiclassing minimums in mind. Intelligence will be number 1. You need to assess, download, and replicate genetic material at a moment's notice. You're like 23andMe, but with very sinister intentions. So, you're like 23andMe. Constitution next. If you're made out of flexible stuff, that makes you harder to kill. Strength after that. Half the Justice League has super strength, so that'll cover a lot of bases. Follow that up with dexterity. You can be subtle if you need to be with the shape-shifting stuff. Charisma is a bit low. You don't need to team up if you're a one robot super team, and we'll dump wisdom. Amazo gets bamboozled and tricked a lot. Well, we'll still get super senses. Amazo is a robot that's a warforged, which means we get +2 in one stat and +1 in another. Let's go for Constitution and Intelligence, getting both up to 16. Your constructed resilience gives you resistance to poison damage, advantage on saving throws against being poisoned, and you don't have to eat, drink, or sleep. Instead, just power down for a sentry's rest, getting the benefits of a long rest, but staying awake. You just can't move. You gotta be next to a power outlet. I think Amazo uses USB 3 or a Game Boy Advance SP charger. Hopefully you have one lying around. Integrated protection lets you merge with a set of armor you're proficient with. It gets +1 to its AC, and it can't be removed. That may or may not inform how we start our multi-class later. You're gonna have to find out in like 20 seconds. Take perception for your skill of choice, and medicine and investigation from your background. You could arrange those however you like. I just think those are what we need to understand all the meta-humans you're copying. We'll kick things off as a fighter, giving you 2 skills from the fighter list, like athletics and intimidation, to be big and scary, not all that complicated. The reason we want to start as a fighter is for heavy armor proficiency. So whenever you can afford the plate mail, you'll get 19 base AC. For your fighting style, unarmed fighting lets you make unarmed attacks that deal 1d6 or 1d8 bludgeoning damage when you have 2 free hands, and you can deal 1d4 to a creature you have grappled once per turn. Kinda disappointing how often Amazo ends up punching, considering he can do everything. If you're writing Amazo, don't ever make him punch. Make him do anything else. Second wind gives you 1d10 plus your fighter level, and healing as a bonus action once per short rest for a little quick repair. Second level fighters get action surge, letting you make 2 actions in 1 turn once per short rest. It's going to be really important at the end of things, but for now it's 2 punches. Keep an eye on this one. Now we're going to jump to wizard for all the spells. It's just the best way to get the most abilities. Firebolt will give you some Kryptonian heat vision for a ranged spell attack that deals 1d10 fire damage. Ray of Frost will give you some Kryptonian frost breath with a ranged spell attack that deals 1d8 cold damage and slows a creature by 10 feet. Gust will give you some Kryptonian breath. You can use it to force a strength saving throw on creatures, pushing them 5 feet if they fail, but also do some fun flavor wind stuff like blowing out candles. This cantrip makes you as powerful as the average birthday boy. We can get some first level spells to get some other Justice League powers. Thunderwave is the Canary Cry, forcing a Constitution saving throw on creatures in a 15-foot cone, dealing 2d8 thunder damage to those that fail and pushing them back 10 feet. Half damage, no pushing if they succeed. Catapult will cover Batman's throwing stuff powers, forcing a dexterity saving throw on a creature, dealing 3d8 bludgeoning damage to those that fail. Featherfall will let you get Batman's glide, saving yourself and up to 5 falling creatures. creatures from falling damage as a reaction. Eventually we'll be able to fly, not totally sure why Amazo pulls out Batman stuff. Sweetie, you can have god powers. Absorb elements lets you give yourself resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage as a reaction. The next attack gets an extra d6 of the damage type you resisted, converting that energy like Firestorm. Shield is better for most attacks, adding 5 to your AC as a reaction when you're attacked. So many JLA members have invincibility. I don't know who to attribute this to. Maybe Steel, underrated member of the JLA. Shout out to Johnny Irons. Witch Bolt will cover a bit of Black Lightning's shtick with a ranged spell attack that deals 1d12 lightning damage with the ability to repeat that on following rounds without having to re-roll the attack for a minute, depending on your concentration. Worth noting, this is actually our first concentration spell. The rest of those Justice League abilities can swap out at will, and you can get some of those abilities back with Arcane Recovery, covering half your wizard level in spell slots on a short rest. They can't all be cantrips, unfortunately. Second level wizards can choose a school. War Magic gives you Tactical Wit, letting you add your intelligence modifier to your initiative. As a machine organism designed only for killing, you're always ready for the killing. Arcane Deflection lets you use a reaction to add 2 to your AC or 4 to a saving throw, but after you use this ability, you can't cast a spell other than a cantrip until the end of your next turn. Effectively, you can just have a permanently 21 AC, and we're only level 4, as long as you don't mind punching. But hey, maybe that's why Amazo punches. For this level spell, some more concentration-free options to have the maximum power utility at the same time. It's Jump and Long Strider, triple jump distance, and 10 feet more movement speed. Lots of good jumpers in the Justice League. I guess we'll go with Wonder Woman since her other powers are use weapon good and super strength. And Long Strider from, Flash. Third level wizards can learn second level spells. Borrow Knowledge lets you download proficiency with any skill you're not proficient with for an hour. Whatever you missed, find it here. No concentration, but if you cast it again, your proficiency from the previous casting ends. I think you should be allowed to do this as many times as you want. If you want to dump 17 second level spell slots for proficiency in every skill, go for it in my game. Magic Weapon makes a weapon magical in terms of overcoming resistances and adds 1 to the attack and damage rolls, so boom, Wonder Woman's whole power set is done, and most of Aquaman. Fourth level wizards get an ability score improvement, bump that intelligence for better superpowers, as 90% of the powers you're stealing are spells. Alter Self will let you finish off Aquaman by gaining a swimming speed and water breathing, or you could do some John Jones shenanigans by altering your appearance or making some natural weapons that deal 1d6 plus 1 damage and are magical in terms of overcoming resistances. Enlarge Reduce will give you some Atom abilities, becoming 1 size larger or smaller. If you're larger, you get advantage on strength checks and saves, and your weapons deal an extra d4 of damage. Becoming smaller gives you the opposite effect, so don't do that. You can shrink an enemy that fails a Constitution saving throw though, so I could see that being fun. You can also grab another cantrip here, like Shocking Grasp, to deal 1d8 lightning damage with a melee spell attack and prevent the targets from taking reactions. Since there's no spell slot, it might honestly be better than the first level spell Witch Bolt. Fifth level wizards can learn third level spells. Fly gives you a flying speed of 60 feet for 10 minutes depending on your concentration, like Hawk Girl or Hawkman. Not a lot else we can steal from them. Haste doubles your movement speed, adds 2 to your AC, gives you advantage on dexterity saving throws, and an extra action to dash, disengage, hide, or make a weapon attack. After the spell ends in a minute, or when your concentration is broken, you'll lose your next action and reaction, but that's going to be over in a flash. Haste is a flash power. Sixth level war wizards get Power Surge, letting you add half your wizard level in force damage to a spell you cast, starting with 1 use of this per day, and getting another one by shutting down spells with Counterspell. That'll let you shut down spells automatically of 3rd level or lower, and higher level spells with an intelligence check of 10 plus the spell's level. For a spell to add some oomph to, Lightning Bolt forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 100-foot line, dealing 8d6 lightning damage to those that fail, and as much to those that succeed. It's like Witch Bolt, but totally different and better. It just also does lightning damage. 7th level wizards can learn 4th level spells. Stone Skin gives a creature resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for an hour for some light invulnerability. Bullets, batarangs, and bruisers. Amazo isn't going to get taken down by the question. Sickening Radiance forces a Constitution saving throw on creatures in a 30-foot radius sphere, dealing 4d10 radiant damage and adding a level of exhaustion if they fail, half damage, and no radiation sickness if they succeed. This is a Captain Atom power, which isn't the same as an Atom power, totally different animal, like an elephant and an elephant seal. 8th level wizards get another ability score improvement, cap off your intelligence, so you're better at using the League's powers than they are. For this level spell, Greater Invisibility will give you some cloaking tech, making you invisible for a minute depending on your concentration. Fire Shield gives you resistance to fire or cold damage and deals 2d8 cold or fire damage to a creature that hits you with a melee attack, depending on whether you choose a warm or cool shield. It's also concentration free, so you can get some more Kryptonian resistances and a bit of Firestorm Fire Flesh as well. 9th level wizards can learn 5th level spells. Skill Empowerment gives you expertise in a skill you're already proficient with for up to an hour depending depending on your concentration. You can even pair it with Borrowed Knowledge, since that doesn't require concentration, so not only can you pick a skill anytime you need one, you can be an expert in it. Wizards are silly. Cone of Cold is some bigger frost breath, forcing a Constitution saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot cone, dealing 8d8 cold damage to those that fail. It's just a big old area of cold damage, not a long comment on this one. 10th level War Mages get Durable Magic, adding 2 to your AC and saving throws while you're concentrating, so that's 21 with integrated protection on some plate mail, or 23 with an arcane deflection, and 25 if the spell you're concentrating on is haste. Amazo is probably more invincible than the Superman build now. We're doing great. For this level spell, Immolation forces a dexterity saving throw on a creature. Failing that, they take 8d6 fire damage and an additional 4d6 damage every turn until they pass the saving throw. If this spell kills them, they turn into ash and are harder to resurrect. Not impossible. It's DC. There's always a black lantern around the corner or something. Telekinesis lets you lift objects weighing 1,000 pounds or less, or people with your mind. If they don't want to go up, you can make an intelligence check against their athletics check to send them up. Not only does this cover psychic stuff, but you could use it directly next to yourself and call it super strength, but it's mostly psychic stuff. 11th level wizards can learn 6th level spells. Tasha's otherworldly guise will give us a whole suite of Amazo wing buffs. 40 feet of flying speed, an extra attack, plus 2 AC, actually plus 4 since you're a war mage and you're concentrating. You can make weapon attacks with your intelligence modifier, and you get immunity to fire and poison damage and the poisoned condition, or necrotic and radiant damage and the charmed condition. If you ever get 11 levels into a casting class and decide you wanted to be a martial character, otherworldly guise will fix that for you. But you can also still cast spells, unlike Tensor's Transformation. I don't think this is a fair spell. It's really good. Sunbeam will give you a better laser, forcing a Constitution saving throw on creatures within a 60-foot line, dealing 6d8 radiant damage to those that fail, and blinding them half damage and no blinding if they succeed. You can fire that off every round for a minute depending on your concentration, so also plus 2 AC. Not sure if this is a Captain Atom laser or a Superman laser. Oh, let's go Supergirl laser. We haven't name dropped her yet. 12th level wizards get another ability score improvement or feat. Let's grab the skill expert feat to boost your strength by 1, get expertise to double your proficiency with athletics, and another skill like insight. Eventually, Amazo stops being duped. Then he tries to destroy the world for duping him. God help the world when Amazo hits level 14. For this level spell, True Sight is the ultimate scanner, giving you True Sight to spot shape-shifting Martians. Contingency lets you cast a spell of 5th level or lower to come out when something you decide happens in the next 10 days. If you have extra slots at night, just store a cone of cold in there for the start of combat. 8d8 cold damage on your foes without even using an action. 13th level wizards can learn 7th level spells. Whirlwind whips up a big ol' red tornado with a 10-foot radius, 30-foot high cylinder, forcing a dexterity saving throw on creatures inside. Failing that, they take 10d6 bludgeoning damage. Then they make a strength saving throw to avoid being restrained inside. They're pulled 10 feet higher and move with the tornado until they can make a strength or dexterity check against your spell DC, where they'll be thrown 3d6 times 10 feet in a random direction. In this DM's humble opinion, if they hit a wall, they should also take falling damage, but that's just me, that's not raw. Etherealness lets you head into the border ethereal plane and move through things that are only on the material plane, which is a fancy way of saying you can walk through walls. But after you pop out, it ends. That's bad. But it's also a way to fully skip a dungeon with some Martian powers, so that's good. It's situational. 14th level war mages get Deflecting Shroud, letting you send out half your wizard level in force damage to 3 creatures within 60 feet of you whenever you use Deflecting Shroud. Amazo tends to solo the Justice League, so this should even the playing field, just 21 free points of damage as a reaction. For this level spell, Mordenkainen's Sword will give us some Green Lantern powers finally, making a floating sword. You can move 20 feet as a bonus action and make melee spell attacks, dealing 3d10 force damage on a hit. Still requires concentration, so it's just a worse version of the cleric spell, Spiritual Weapon. Still, gotta get some constructs. Delayed Blast Fireball makes a fireball you can charge up for a minute, starting off with a 20-foot radius dexterity saving throw that deals 12d6 fire damage on a fail, half damage on a success. Every round you don't send it out, the damage increases by a d6, so store it up all you can, then unleash a real storm of fire. 15th level wizards can learn 8th level spells. Sunburst forces a constitution saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot radius, dealing 12d8 radiant damage to those that fail, half as much for those that succeed, for a full-on Captain Atom bomb. Incendiary Cloud makes a cloud of smoke, forcing a dexterity saving throw on creatures inside, dealing 10d8 fire damage, half damage on a success, lasts for a minute, rolling forward, but can be dispersed by wind. I don't know why this is the 8th level fire spell, but it's fire, and Amazo can fire, 16th level wizards get our last ability score improvement, bump your constitution for 18 more HP at this point, and better concentration. Concentration is also really good since we started as a fighter. You've got proficiency and you get +2 from durable magic. For spells, we're sort of just doubling up on Justice League abilities. Chain lightning could be good. Water breathing, I guess if you want a worse version of the alter self thing for a higher level slot, but we need our 9th level spells. 17th level wizards get those, which will give us our other 2 methods of copycatting powers. Shape change lets you turn into any creature of challenge rating or level equal to or lower than your level. So check out every Justice League member on my Patreon and swap between them all you want as your action. With action search from fighter, you can even transform into them and still have an action. And with durable magic, you'll get an extra +2 to your AC and saving throws while transformed, so you'll just be a better version of them. If you use your action to change into a creature with more HP than your current form, after the first form you don't get more HP, so start with a tank and work your way down to DPS or to a healer. DPS is more Amazo. The other option is Wish. Wish can do any spell of 8th level or lower automatically. So if you just want to talk to animals like Aquaman, that's an option. Or you could just use shape change, tell a dolphin to kick Batman's ass, then turn into Superman. That's probably more efficient than using Wish to talk to a fish. Our capstone is the 18th level wizard for spell mastery, letting you pick 2 spells to cast at will of 1st and 2nd level. Shield will effectively boost your AC by 5 if you don't mind giving up opportunity attacks. Borrowed knowledge lets you pick a free skill at will. You will always be proficient with every skill check. It's pretty good. For this level spell, invulnerability makes you invincible for 10 minutes depending on your concentration, which means it also boosts your AC and saving throws, which you don't really need because you're invincible. Foresight gives you advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws, and creatures attacking you have disadvantage. If you become your enemy, you probably know your enemy. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you can do almost anything with a huge spell list full of utility, damage, and defense. You can also become almost anyone, transforming into creatures you've been fighting to be better than them. Finally, being a robot makes your AC ridiculous. 19 before you've done anything, 21 if you concentrate on a spell, which you should be doing, 26 with a free shield, or 23 and 27 points of force damage from an arcane deflection. For weaknesses, you have a lot of concentration spells, so you're gonna have to decide which member of the league you're copying. You're also lacking wisdom with only a +1 modifier for durable magic, so charming could be a problem. Finally, if you want to be a martial fighter, you're gonna have to cast Tasha's Otherworldly Guise. But remember, if you're writing Amazo and he punches someone, you made a mistake. Make Amazo do everything else. Amazo doesn't need to put the team on his back because his back is the team. Just maybe don't solo an entire adventuring party. They could have you questioning your power. That's a joke. You could nuke the question. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Follow me on Twitch to watch my streams and join my Patreon if you want to support the channel.